one more race to go in the NASCAR season, and then we get 3 months off. And this one was, as Phoenix usually is actually now in this new format, a good one, an exciting one, a one with a lot of drama, one with a lot of ups and downs, and one where I said I thought the top four would be fine. It ended up being that way, but it took a lot of different paths, to say the least, in how we got there. Overall, the race was great. It was a very good race, but let's review it, break it down, and some thoughts and opinions on it as well. Comment down below what your opinions are on the race as well. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram if you're not already. Let's get into it. The new start-finish line, they didn't block the apron. I thought that was a thing going into the race weekend. It wasn't a thing. I'm glad it wasn't a thing. Makes it very unique and a lot better racing in my opinion. So the restarts were crazy. But the big storyline heading into the race was Kevin Harvick. He was the guy everyone was looking at. Fan favorite Chase Elliott was trying to get the win or point his way in, which would have been difficult. But over the course of this race, pointing your way into something did not seem as difficult as it would have been with all the twists and turns. So the first stage goes to plan, right? Until the end. So Harvick is leading, he's dominating, but Elliott is able to stay with him. I mean, within half a second, he's matching him on speed, and Elliott's just chilling there, and then Harvick gets a flat right front tire. This happens with 2 laps to go. He has to come down pit road. The splitter's been dragging, a little bit of damage to the right front of the car. Goes a lap down, has to then take a penalty for pitting with the pit road being closed with the stage ending. So he has to restart at the back of the field, and Harvick looks to be in a little bit of trouble. There was a fortunate break, and when it did happen, let's say if it happened with 5 laps to go, he could have easily been 2 laps down. So that would have been a very interesting scenario there if it happened a few laps earlier, but because it happens so close to the end of the stage, he's only 1 lap down. Chase Elliott wins the stage. He's doing his job. He gets 10 points in that stage. Harvick gets nothing. Kurt Busch finishes pretty well in the stage. I think he got 7 points for the stage. So now that gap that was 17 points between Harvick and Elliott, 3 points between Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, that gap is gone because Kurt Busch has made up that gap, and now Chase Elliott is pretty much almost made up all that gap. He's only 7 points back in terms of the beginning of the race and the stage points introduced. So now points racing is actually legitimate and in its way, and Kevin Harvick is in really bad shape here. But Harvick got a good break, a very good break from a left rear tire failure of Joey Logano. Joey Logano is having a fun day, eating a cheese dog probably in his race car and enjoying his day out until he crashed with a left rear tire failure. He's going on a homestead. He doesn't really care. That team doesn't really care. They are happy to go through to Miami. But this was a huge break for Kevin Harvick. Huge break, because that caution came at the perfect time that he got into the free pass position, gets back on the lead lap within stage 2 in case for those stage points. As the stage goes along, a few more cautions happen in here. Pit strategy gets thrown all over the place, and this is where Kevin Harvick really benefited. So with 15 laps to go in the stage, a caution came out, and Harvick decided to stay out. He would gain his track position that way. Truex stayed out as well, who was struggling for the most of the early race. He was running in 13th. Guys like Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, who were up towards the front. Kurt Busch, I haven't mentioned his name yet, but Kurt Busch was leading stage 2. They come down pit road. Kurt Busch makes a mistake by passing the pace car. Now, this was talked about in the driver meeting because the way Phoenix's pit road is and how it cuts in. Busch accidentally, he didn't mean it on purpose, but he accidentally passes the pace car, and it's a black and white rule. You can't do that when entering pit road, and he gets penalized for it. So he gets sent to the back. He gets penalized 1 lap as well, so he's a lap down, and that really hurts him for his stage points because Harvick is now gaining points. In a stage where you thought Harvick wouldn't gain any points, now Kurt Busch is not going to gain any points, and Chase Elliott is not doing exactly what he needs to do to make up ground on Harvick, because in stage 2, Harvick would finish ahead of Elliott by a few spots. I think Elliott finished in 7th and Harvick finished in 4th. Kyle Busch, enjoying his day, wins the stage. So as stage 3 starts, the points are kind of clear now. Elliott, who's running up towards the front, and Harvick, who's running about a few spots behind him, the gap between those two is about 10 to 6 to 10 points, debating on how they run. And Harvick probably isn't going to fall back unless he has another issue, but he's probably not going to fall back based on performance. So Elliott has one job to do, and his job is to win. So during the final stage, a long green flag run ensues. Kurt Busch is still 1 lap down. He's in the free pass position though, driving all the way up through the field and just hoping for a caution to come out like it did for Harvick, but Kurt Busch does not get that luck, and the green flag run goes on for a while. The pit strategy that happened at the end of stage 2 affected the running order and fuel mileage for the beginning of stage 3. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski stayed out at the end of stage 2, and a few other guys like Harvick and Truex and Elliott pitted, but Elliott only took 2 right side tires while Harvick and Truex took 4 because Elliott pitted before that. Strategy is very confusing, but those guys have more fuel now than Keselowski and Kyle Busch. In case, even though it's 120 laps to go, if it goes green all the way, those guys who pitted are definitely good on fuel, and guys who didn't are a little bit iffy on making it on one more stop. Chase Elliott marches through the field, gets in the 4th, gets in the 3rd. Harvick, once he gets up to around where Larson was running, was around 5th or 6th. He kind of just stalls because the damage on the right front of the car, it definitely did some damage to his car, and he definitely wasn't the same, or not flat out speed, but he was still like a top 5 car. So that affected him. He wasn't able to really match Elliott on speed, and Elliott marches all the way to the lead. So Elliott has placed himself in a perfect position. The lap that he passes Kyle Busch comes down pit road to short pit a little bit and try to get past Elliott again. Kevin Harvick makes the surprising move to pit as well, and he pitted. He could have gone a lot longer on fuel, but he pits, and then the caution comes out for Tanner Berryhill in the 97, I think. I have no idea who that guy is, but he spun coming down pit road, and it traps Harvick and Kyle Busch a lap down. Now they can take the wave around, which is not that huge of a deal, and Kurt Busch also gets on the lead lap as well. But the big deal here was Chase Elliott was in the lead, and he trapped Harvick and Kyle Busch in the back of the pack with 75 laps to go, and now he was in a really good position to win the race. But he speeds on pit road, and Chase Elliott throws away his opportunity at probably winning the race and getting into the Final Four. A mistake you cannot make. There's no excuses for him making that mistake. He was just pushing it a little bit too far, and he kind of ruined his own chances to get into the Final Four. I mean, they still had 75 laps to go, still kind of got up towards the front, but due to what happened later on in the race and where he put himself in that position, it is ultimately his fault. He should have been in the lead for most of that final stage if he doesn't speed on pit road. So you can't do that, and that's his mistake, and that has cost him a chance at a championship. So unfortunate. Now, the real battle when Elliott speeds on pit road is between Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, because both are on the lead lap again, and with the way they finished in stages, they're kind of very close on points, and now it's between like 1 and 2 points between the two. Kurt Busch has a fast race car, and he's ultimately probably as fast, if not faster, than Kevin Harvick at this point of the race because of Harvick's damage, and Kurt Busch and Harvick are kind of moving through the field at their own rate. The guys up towards the front are guys who are not really in the playoffs. Brad Keselowski is leading the race here. Denny Hamlin's up there as well. Kyle Busch is making his way back up towards the front, and they're all just trying to get to the front. A few more incidents, including Kevin Harvick accidentally spinning out David Ragan because Ragan just stopped in the middle of the corner for some reason. That happens, and a few other stuff happens around here as well. I think Ricky Stenhouse, he had a very bad incident. I think something broke on the car, and that went up into a lot of trouble with around 50 laps to go. That would red flag the race. And now we come to a big restart, because before the red flag happened, Kurt Busch stays out, and he's on like 30 lap older tires, I think. And Kurt Busch stays out. He's in the lead. He has fresh tires behind him. On the outside, Eric Jones is the leader. He also stayed out. So Eric Jones is the control car. Busch is going to have to fight his way just to kind of maintain second until, maybe he can stay ahead of Harvick. Harvick is only a few spots behind him, and the restart ensues, and everyone goes crazy. Everyone's going down the dog leg, all that good stuff, because that's what you have to do if you restart on the inside lane. And in turn 1 and 2, Eric Jones gets a little bit loose under Kurt Busch. Denny Hamlin's able to squeeze through, but then Denny Hamlin gets loose into Kurt Busch, and then they end up tangling, which then gets Chase Elliott involved as well. And that was the big one. Two main threats to Kevin Harvick's spot in Homestead was Elliott and Busch, and now they are taken out with this wreck. Denny Hamlin trying to go for the race win. The gap was there. He went for it. He just got a little bit loose coming out of turn 2 and didn't really back out of it. He was just trying to catch the car, used Kurt Busch as the wall, and they just got hinged, and they couldn't really do anything, and that ends Kurt Busch's day, and it ends Chase Elliott's day. Again, Chase Elliott, if he doesn't speed on pit road, I don't think he gets placed in that situation, so that's really where Chase's race just completely got messed up. Kurt Busch, in this instance, I felt bad for him. I mean, I didn't think Kurt Busch had a real shot, really, to catch Harvick, because he usually has an all-right race car or a good race car, but he never has the best race car, and today, I think he had a top 3 car, and he definitely showed a lot of speed, and he showed a lot of fight. He got his way back up to the lead with a little strategy call, and he was just trying to hold his position. He runs well all day, and just a mistake by Denny Hamlin ends it all. And that's really unfortunate for Kurt Busch, who is probably his last race in the 41 car is going to be next week. and unfortunate for him. And this is where the race kind of dulled down here, because the championship implications were really almost set in stone at this point. There was one guy left who could dethrone Kevin Harvick from his spot, and that was Aric Almirola. Now, Almirola put up a fight. He put up one hell of a fight. He gets up towards the front, and after a few cautions at the end, he's restarting on the outside of Kyle Busch, or in third place behind Harvick and Kyle Busch. But Almirola never really had that speed, or showed that he can really get past or be faster than Harvick and Kyle Busch, so he wasn't able to get it done. He ends up falling back a little bit. Things kind of settle down. Harvick's running in the top 5. Brad Keselowski on fresh tires is trying to chase down Kyle Busch for the win, but in the end, Kyle Busch throughout most of the race was fantastic on restarts, taking just a wonderful advantage of the apron and doing a great job at getting a nice drive through 1 and 2, really 2 lanes off the track, to make up so many spots. Gets himself in the lead with fresh tires, is able to hold off Brad Keselowski. Kyle Busch wins at Phoenix, and your top 4 is set. It's going to be Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and Kevin Harvick. The big 3 are in there. Joey Logano, who's been pretty well all season, is in there as well. I think whoever wins the championship here, even Logano, would be a deserving champion. I think those 4 are the top 4 in the, if you counted regular point standings, I think those 4 are the top 4. So there's going to be a deserving champion no matter what, which is nice to have, because it's very, it could be like, let's say Chase Elliott wins and gets into a Homestead. Is he a deserving champion after being so poor the first half of the season? It's all this stuff that fans talk about, but it is what it is. And the only worry we kind of have now is, I'm worried that if Kevin Harvick wins the championship, fans will not be happy because of getting caught 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, but will be at Homestead 2 weeks ago at Texas. And that's going to be very interesting. Here's the top 10 of the race results. Kyle Busch wins the race. Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Aric Almirola, Harvick, McMurray, Kenseth, with a great run. Good job, Matt. Probably his last race at Phoenix, and that sucks because he's still a great race car driver. Austin Dillon in 8th place, quietly doing a great job to finish out the end of the season. William Byron with a great finish there in 9th place, and Bubba Wallace finally shows up. he's had a rough few weeks and a rough few months, actually, and he gets a top 10 with all the chaos that ensued. And then the rest of your race results, everything down here was just kind of hectic. Martin Truex Jr. finishes 14th because he was just trying to make it home. He just had to finish minimum 24th to lock himself in. Jimmy Johnson, he just wants the season to end. It's been absolute hell for him. And the rest of the results, a lot of the guys in the back got involved in wrecks and stuff like that, including Clint Boyer, who had another left rear tire failure. Goodyear didn't have the best of days. A lot of weird left rear tires. Could have been because of the apron. They'll probably study of what it was. If you cut down to the apron with the low tire pressures, does it do something to the tire? Does it cut a leak in it? Whatever. Because there were a few tire failures here. The big story of the race is the Final 4. It's who got in it. A big talking point on Denny Hamlin. I guess I'm not one to talk because I was a little immature last year and got a little heated. That's not me anymore. I want to defend Hamlin because I know what he was trying to do. Listen, the gap opened up. The seas parted for him to go into the lead, and he just got loose. I mean, it happens. Like, I can't blame the guy. Even if he backs out of it, like, he probably gets hit from behind. So it's a tough call there, and it sucks that he kind of determined the championship, who got into the round of 4 there at the end by taking out Busch, and then Elliott unfortunately gets, again, I'm not blaming that on Hamlin. Elliott put himself in that situation, but that really set it up. And a lot of hate towards Denny Hamlin on Twitter. That's what I saw. I'm not going to play a part of that. I did that job last year, and I don't want to do that again. The point I'm trying to go for is that it's racing. And I get that if your favorite driver, got caught up in it, he went for the win. It's not as similar as like the Chase Elliott one because he just straight out dumped Chase Elliott, kind of knew what he was doing there. This one, he's just legitimately trying to race hard, and he gets loose. And that's just kind of like, I want to say it's a racing deal. Like, I've done a lot better, but it's hard racing. It's what fans want. More tracks like Phoenix, short tracks, and you get a race like this. It's a great race. So I guess that's like the perspective I'm seeing it from. Obviously, if your favorite driver got involved, you're not going to be very happy about it. But, as a fan of the sport, that was a good race. I will give credit to the playoff format when it's due. This race was very hectic and had a lot of drama because of the point standings. Does that mean the first, from March to August or September, is that still okay to have? No, I still despise this format. But at the end of the season, it does work at races like Martinsville and races like Phoenix with all the drama and the chaos that ensues. it's insane. And you create like kind of like this points kind of style format here at the end. Hopefully with more short tracks and news that NASCAR might buy out ISC. I don't know how that's going to work, but hopefully more short tracks in the future, and the on-track products can be better. So that way from March through the summer, you know, there's really solid racing that might, I guess, you know, off throw like the point standings not really mattering, or in my opinion, just, you know, not let that many people get in the playoffs, only let 10 drivers get into the playoffs, and that way a lot of top names can miss out on the playoffs, and it makes the beginning part of the season much better, because 16 is way too much. So if you wanted like a short-term fix for this format but wanted to keep it, I'd limit or eliminate 6 drivers from this original format, because 16 is way too much. It would actually make me care a little bit more in case one of a big name driver missed out. So, but Phoenix overall was a great race. Comment down below what you think of the race and all the incidents that happened. I will be at Homestead next week. I am disappointed that Chase Elliott did not make it. I was hoping maybe to see him in contention for the championship, but I have come to the conclusion I just don't think he's ready yet. I don't think Hendrick Motorsports is ready yet. They really need to get their cars better. I mean, his car was good today, but as an organization, they need to be much, much better. So I don't think it's their time yet. I don't think it's Chase's time yet. He made a lot of mistakes on restarts. There was, I think, the one restart where the wreck happened. Kyle Busch was behind him, and he passed him by going on the apron. So that's something Elliott has to learn and just get better at. And I'm pretty confident he'll get better at it. So, and he's still young. He's like 22. He's 1 year older than me. Gee, I am old. But that is it for me. I'll let you guys take it out from here. And yeah, it was in the great state of Phoenix. I know I'm not going to live that one down, but that's what I'm going to call it now. I'm calling Phoenix a state because, you know, when you make the mistake, I'm going to roll with it. So the great state of Phoenix put on a great race. And now we are off to Homestead. Again, I will be there. I'll talk about it a little bit more in the pre-race preview. And it should be an interesting one. Let's see who wins the championship. And it should be fun. So I'll see you guys later. Hope you're having a fantastic night and have a good week. If you liked the video, make sure to like the button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Comment down below with all your opinions and such. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.